EA Sports finally broke their silence on College Football 26 today. We got some covers to look at. We also got some more news on when to expect more information, and we're going to cover that in today's video and talk a little bit about what to expect. Now, I did want to get this info out a little earlier. I know that the covers dropped a few hours ago, but I am on vacation right now, so you guys know how that goes. Just had to kind of get away and make some time for it. So the info that we'll get later on this week, I'll definitely be more on time with that for you guys, so no worries there. But we got the covers today. We got some stuff to talk about. If you are new to the channel, however, and you don't want to miss out on any of the updates for this game over the next month, because there's going to be a ton. We're going to have gameplay info, videos, multiple trailers, dynasty news, everything. If you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss any of the news as soon as it drops. I'm trying to get to 650k subs before the release of this game, so if everybody watching just subbed, we can hit that number in a few days. So let's take a look at the covers for the game. So here is the standard version of the cover, and this is kind of what a lot of us expected. If it wasn't going to be somebody like Arch Manning, we figured Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, the two freshmen from last year that absolutely kind of took over college football. I mean, Jeremiah Smith was one of the leading forces for Ohio State winning the championship. They both graced the cover together as sophomores, which is pretty cool because if you think about it, last year, the guys that were on the cover were, you know, those juniors and seniors, the guys that they were projecting to go to the NFL draft, and they all did. So you usually wouldn't see them go this young on the cover, but because of how good these guys are, you just kind of had to do it. Now, these guys are still going to be in college another year, so, I mean, they probably won't be on the cover next year, but to grace the cover as a sophomore, I think is a pretty cool thing. It's probably not something we're going to see a whole lot over the life of this game, just because you usually don't see two freshmen be as dominant as these two guys were. So I'm guessing both of these guys are going to come in mid 90s, like 94, 95, 96, since they're on the cover. They're going to be completely overpowered in this game, as they should be. And then of course behind them we got some of the team flags, so it's kind of cool that they're representing a bunch of teams on the cover. I'll be honest, I like this cover better than last year's standard cover. I really do. I think two guys instead of three. I think it looks less crowded. I think they did the right thing here. And here we have the deluxe cover, which is going to have a lot more going on. Same as last year, you're going to have more players. But this year, of course, we see coaches and we see legends on the cover and we see mascots, which is pretty cool. Now, I will say I prefer last year's deluxe cover over this one, just because I think this one's really busy. There's a lot going on, but it's still a really good cover. Of course, Smith and Williams are still front and center. And then you've got other guys like Jeremiah Love. You've got Singleton from Penn State. You know, behind them, you can see even Bryce Underwood, the freshman. I was about to say rookie, but this is college. The freshman on the cover, which is pretty cool. A lot of hype for that guy. You see DJ Lagway. You see Garrett Nussmeier from my LSU Tigers, so that's pretty cool. Then, of course, you see guys like Ryan Day and Kirby Smart. We do know that coaches are going to more than likely be in this game because they wouldn't be putting them on the cover if they weren't going to be in the game. Then you got the legends like Tim Tebow and Reggie Bush, which I think is a really cool touch as well. And I don't know what that really means for this game. I don't think that really necessarily means all-time teams. I think that's just kind of probably a nod to Ultimate Team or something like that. Got some mascots on the cover too, which I think is cool. So, you know, it just screams college football, and you love to see that. And it's kind of funny just to see how everything comes together, because if you remember a few months ago when the cover shoot actually leaked, you know, seeing the leaked photo shoot versus what the finished product looks like, it's night and day. I remember some people were saying, oh my God, this cover looks like it's going to be awful, because it was just like a leaked picture that somebody threw together. You know, it's cool to see how it actually comes together once, you know, they edit it and, you know, everything is, you know, photoshopped and all that good stuff. Pretty cool covers. I think they're cool. I do like the standard a little bit better this year, but both I think solid. Both represent the sport very well. Now we're going to continue on with some more news you need to know, but really quickly, here's a quick word from today's video sponsor. One thing that I loved doing as a kid, and even honestly love doing today, is opening up a pack of sports cards. You just never know what you're going to get inside that pack, and for me, that's a ton of fun. And that brings us to today's video sponsor, Arena Club. Now, Arena Club offers something called slab packs, which is basically a way to open real cards digitally. It's the new way to open sports cards. Now, once your cards are revealed, they can literally ship you that card that you opened in your pack, or you could sell it back to Arena Club instantly. They'll give you an instant offer, which is something I really love, or you can keep it in your vault on the site for trading or selling later. And without a doubt, hands down, my favorite thing about Arena Club is they will give you an instant offer on your card that you pulled based on its market value. So there's no guessing, there's no waiting around. I've tried to sell cards in the past. Sometimes you got to sit on them for a while. No, with Arena Club, you can sell it and get pretty much its market value instantly if you don't want to wait around. Arena Club is the most trusted name in the game. They offer full transparency, showing every card in the pack with the likelihood of pulling each one, so you know exactly what's available before you buy.
I've had a lot of fun using Arena Club. I think you should check it out too. It is the future of trading cards that combines all of the great childhood vibes with technology. And of course, you know Arena Club's going to be hooking you all up. Right now, you can get 20% off of your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/RayWeather and use code RayWeather.
Now, they also dropped some behind the scenes videos today if you guys like watching that. Some of that will be playing throughout this video if you like that extra content. A few YouTubers also posted some videos today. I believe MMG probably did, Bordeaux, maybe some other guys. I'd have to see who all posted, but there were some guys that were invited down to the cover shoot a few months back, and they recorded content, so it looks like they've dropped that content today, which is cool. Probably talking to some athletes and stuff. I haven't got to watch any of them myself, but I've seen like little clips pop up, so there's some more content out there if you want to just go search College Football 26. I'm sure those guys will pop up for you, and you know, some more content you can digest until we start getting the real news later this week, which I know that's what everybody wants. You know, we know the release date, we know the pre-order info, now we're seeing the covers, which is cool, but we want the info, we want the trailers, we want to know what are they changing about gameplay, what are they adding to the game, what's going to be in Dynasty mode. Road to Glory, of course, we know there's high school because that's kind of been already, you know, teased in their other trailer. You know, we know coaches because they're on the cover, but we want all the little details. Well, EA did also mention today that the full reveal for the game is going to be on Thursday. So they already have the trailer preloaded onto their YouTube channel. So we know the trailer is dropping Thursday. There should be more info dropping with that because typically on reveal day, we get a trailer and we're going to get some info about the game. We're going to get, you know, kind of the bullet points for the game on Thursday. So we'll know, you know, maybe what new gameplay feature they're touting this year, you know. So like last year, it was a few different things. It was revamped passing and it was the switch stick and stuff like that. So we'll probably find out about, you know, what gameplay thing are they bringing this year. We'll find out some of the big things for Dynasty. If they're adding, you know, something to Dynasty, for example, if they're adding like a trophy room and they're adding a stadium creator, let's just say, like that, we'd find out about that stuff. Road to Glory, they're going to touch on high school, even though we already know about that. So Thursday we get the trailer and we're going to get those bullet point kind of back of the box features. But keep in mind that even on reveal day, we only know about, you know, I would say like 30, maybe 40% of what the game's going to entail, because the best info, in my opinion, over the years of covering Madden and then college last year, the best info is going to come in the month to follow. So for June, that's when we're going to find out everything about the game. They're going to do the deep dives just like they did last year. So 1 week, they'll deep dive on gameplay, where you're going to find out everything about gameplay. What did they add? What did they tweak? What did they, you know, mess around with? You know, what new things are going to be added, like from the smallest detail to the biggest details. We're going to find out about all that. And then 1 week, they'll do a Dynasty deep dive, and they're going to touch on every new feature for Dynasty. They're going to touch on everything that they fixed that may have been not working properly last year. They're going to touch on all the things that have been modified and tweaked. So they'll talk about recruiting a bunch. You know, what changes did they make in recruiting? What tactics did they get rid of that people abused last year? Then you're going to have the 1 week where there's going to be a Road to Glory deep dive, where they're going to dive all into the high school and the creation and everything else that comes along with it. You'll probably also have a week where they just do ratings and they're going to go over the top rated teams and players and stuff like that. So June is what I'm looking forward to, because that is where we get the nitty gritty. That's where us hardcore players get to know every single detail about the game. That really, you know, is going to help people determine if they want to buy the game or not. So this week is just kind of the beginning of that, and then June is going to be pretty fun. Now, in the meantime, if you want to find out some of the other little things that we already found out about the game, you can check out this important video right here on the screen.